Hey, welcome everybody back to 2 Pixels Off. We are glad you're here. I'm here with Huss Dog HD in the hizzle, Brad Hussey. Oh, he's popping the bubbly, sparkling soda. Oh, I don't have one on my. I had some LaCroix earlier on my.
We should do that on like we should start our episodes and just like crack a sparkling water.
Oh man, it's so good. Here, I'm gonna pop my.
Oh, we shook it and everything. Oh, yes.
We had some Mountain Dew go a little awry as I was trying to contribute to this.
Welcome to 2 Pixels Off, a podcast for creative entrepreneurs.
Amazing. This is the best intro so far.
It is so good. I should have held it up. I got a lot of foam going here. Let's see if it's still
all over the desk. There it is.
Still a little.
Danger. Living life on the edge today, Mike.
Oh, man. Crazy. Today, we would like to first shout out Wix Studio for making this podcast possible. Wix Studio is a no-code website builder platform for designers. Super high-end design capabilities without knowing code. And for you designers out there that know the aesthetics and know the UX of how to create websites, but you don't have a programmer or don't want to kick out the code side of this, it is such a great tool for you. And not only does it have the tools to help you create great looking interactive websites, but it also has a lot of business tools integrated into the back end, e-commerce, email management, all kinds of things that help you market your business and market your website on top of just building a great website. So we're thankful for Wix Studio for making this podcast possible. And I'm Mike Janda, and we are going to dig right in today to how to craft an epic elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is, what do you say when you jump into the elevator and you know you've got 30 seconds, 45 seconds on your ride down or up, and somebody leans over to you and says, hey, so what do you do for business? What do you do in your career? What do you say back to that person? It needs to be some kind of 35-second, 45-second pitch that articulates the services that you're offering or the product that you have to offer, what void it fills, who your audience is, who you're trying to sell to. It needs to articulate all that stuff and what makes you different. We're going to give you today the formula of how to make a great elevator pitch. Brad, welcome to 2 Pixels Off today. So glad to be with you again.
Good to be here, Mike. I really appreciate it. I have a question for you, actually.
Okay.
Because we're going to get into formulas here. What do you think you should start with? Should you, when you're trying to figure out that elevator pitch and like your, as I would say, niche, or as you might say, niche.
Yeah, niche. Mm-hmm.
Niche and niche, right? So
when nobody says there's riches in the niches, they say there's riches in the niches, man. So
see, I do it with riches in the niches. You got to do it with an accent, and it sounds
good word. Sounds so fancy.
Question though, I know it makes it sound fancier than it is. Do you start with who the target market is and then find out what their problems are, or do you start with a problem that you want to solve and then find out who suffers with those problems? What do you do first? Where do you go?
It's such a good question. It's like the chicken and the egg metaphor. Like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Was a chicken just born out of an egg, and where'd the egg come from? It's that kind of mindset. And in business strategy, what comes first? Do you find a problem in the market that you need to solve and then determine who has that problem? Or do you find a target customer and then determine what problems they have and then craft something that solves those problems? I think it can go either way. I would say in more circumstances than not, people are starting with the problem and then they're defining who the people are that have that problem and defining a target audience. I think that that's the way that it goes most of the time. I would say that the only way that that is different is if you have a consistent, ongoing client and you already know their audience, and then you're then you're asking yourself, okay, I've got this audience, this client base, what other problems do they have? So you have your target customers already defined, then you're asking yourself, what other problems do they have? But if you're starting from nothing, I would say it probably leads more toward people looking and saying, you know what, man, there's a problem in this industry and I can solve it now. Who will buy this from me? I think it probably goes that way. What do you think?
Thinking about it, I think it does have a couple options, and I don't think either is right or wrong. I think it just depends on maybe the combination of how viable the market is, how viable that target customer and who they represent is, and if the solution is really a solution to a big problem or just like scratching an itch. And so maybe we might find out here as we try and come up with our elevator pitches. Like, is yours more customer first, or is yours more problem first, and then you find the customer to fit that, or the target audience? I think it can go both ways, and it just really depends on the situation.
Yeah. And that's interesting they say that. And I think mine is more customer first, because I do a lot of work for creative agency owners and creative freelancers. And so I often ask myself, what problems are they facing in their business? And then I create content and solutions to help with those problems. So I think mine is very customer first in the way that I think about my business strategies.
So should we hear it? Do you have one?
Can we hear
it?
Heck yes, I got an elevator pitch, because I would not come to this without an elevator pitch. Okay, let's talk about kind of just an overview of what goes into this, and we're going to go into a lot more detail. So an elevator pitch, if you took a super simple formula of an elevator pitch, it would be, who's your target? What problems do they have? What do you offer that solves those problems? And what makes you different than all the other people solving those problems? So those four elements go into what would be an elevator pitch. So for me, in sharing an elevator pitch, I get in the elevator and Brad's there. He's wearing his fancy Canadian boots that his wife just bought him. And they're like, and he's got a hockey stick.
Montreal.
He's got a hockey stick and a hockey jersey on. And we get in the elevator and he's like, what do you guys say? Eh? No, you say, eh? Hey.
How's it going, eh?
How's it going, eh? How's it going, eh? And do you have one of those Canadian Mountie hats on? That's what you have on too. You have
I have a Mountie hat,
Mountie
the
pants, Mountie hat, and
Mountie boots.
This is great, and a scarf. It's so good. You're dressed so good. So
we'd
Canadian.
have a toque, is what we'd be wearing.
Oh,
because it'd be cold.
It is a toque.
Wearing a toque.
Yeah, but that's just like a sock hat, man, right? A toque is a sock hat, right?
Oh, you guys call it beanies, and it bugs me.
Yeah, beanies.
It's a toque.
Yeah.
It's a toque through and through.
I don't know. In America,
that's why I didn't wear a toque.
In America, we think we set the rules. So we think that, this is American arrogance. And I know that it's not correct arrogance, but it's American arrogance that we think that we should be the ones who determine whether it's a toque or a beanie or a sock hat or whatever.
And we'll think the same thing, but we won't say it.
Yes, that's the difference between Americans and Canadians. We got into that on the last episode.
We did.
We won't dig too deep on that one this time. Okay, so these four elements, who are you targeting? What's the problem that they have? What services do you offer that solve that problem? And what makes you different than everybody else? So Brad and I get into the elevator. The doors close, and Brad's like, hey,
how's it going, eh?
mate? How's it going? What do you call people?
What am I like this like Australian kid? G'day, mate. How's it going, eh?
What do you call people up there? What do you call a friend? Like a
how's it going, bud? How's it going, bud?
Bye. How about bye? Like, don't you call people a bye?
Oh, see, that would be over on the East Coast of Newfoundland.
Yeah,
so
but that's all Canadians to me. That's all Canadians. All Canadians are that.
How's you getting on, bye? Like that would be a different, very niche Canadian.
Okay, so this is what Brad leans over and says to me. How's it going, bye? And I'm like, hey, it's going good, mate.
Like, there's a psychopath in this elevator, and
okay. And then Brad says to me, hey, so what do you do for a living, eh? And I'm like, oh, nice to meet you, man. Hey, I'm Mike Janda, and I help creative freelancers and creative agency owners. I do a lot of business coaching and content to help them run successful businesses. Now, usually with an initial statement like that, you're going to get some kind of a response from the person. Like, oh, that's interesting, or something like that. So, Brad, give me a little Canadian response after that first statement. And let's make this kind of conversational, as if you're really in the elevator with your hockey stick and your toque.
I can do that. If I'm doing that and channeling that, I go,
channel.
Holy smokes, just giving her, eh?
Good. This is so good. It's good. And then I say, yeah, I really love what I'm doing. I started this business because I own my own creative agency for a number of years. I think I had like every experience possible, from being a solo freelancer in my basement to growing and building an agency that I sold.
Sheesh.
That's all you're giving me? You're giving me sheesh.
I'm
okay.
Shell shocked.
Okay. So I've really experienced all these things, and I'm really, really passionate about using some of those experiences and the systems and processes and things that I use to build my agency to help other freelancers and creative agency owners grow and scale their business. I have courses, I do coaching, I have a community, and a number of other things, some books and things that I've written as well.
Now, jokes aside, if I'm at a conference or I'm at an elevator, I'd put on my best. I'd be a good boy and actually care about what the person was saying. And so
unlike right now,
if I'm going hard and I'm going full Canadian, full tilt, just giving her, the response is different. But, I'm being a good boy at a conference, and I want to connect and network and open up some opportunities and save the little Canadian quirks and quips for another time, like in a podcast in jest, then sure. But what I would say, to that, I'd probably say, hey, what brings you here? And what do you do for work? Yeah. What gives you that? What purpose, brings you here? I'd probably say some sort of answer that wasn't question that wasn't too lame, but I want to know, like, what do you do? Tell me more about what rocks your boat, work wise. And then you'd launch into the, I help creative freelancers, agency owners. And then I'd probably say, and that's cool. I tend to, I do the same in a certain way. Like I know a lot of freelancers. I'm actually a freelancer myself. And then you would probably use it as a launch pad to say, I actually started my own business in 2002, and I've done from ground up. I even sold the operation. What? You sold it? That's huge. That must have been kind of a big change. Yeah. And so it's actually allowed me to go from doing that to a mentorship position. And I've seen the industry from here to here, and I actually help a lot of freelancers now in that position. Do you know of any? Absolutely, yes. I do.
That's the one at the end right there, what you just called out, that call to action. Something at the end that says, do you know anybody who is my target audience, who has this problem? Do you know somebody like that? That's such a key piece of an elevator pitch. Sorry for jumping in on that, Brad, but I just wanted to call that out. It's so good.
That makes it asking the question, I think, because when an elevator pitch, I think inherently is self-focused for a moment, and the shorter we can make it, I think the better, because the idea is in an elevator, you got short amount of time. If you can capture the attention and make it a meaningful statement, then that elicits questions, and then you get to put it back onto them and have them answer your question. Like, do you know of any freelancers or agency owners? Then they might go, yeah, actually, I do. Tom's here with me at the conference. You guys should talk. I'm actually meeting him for lunch. Do you want to come? Do you like tacos?
Yeah.
Like tacos, it is like great. And that is the purpose there of that elevator pitch, creating some sort of call to action and next step and creating a spark of a meaningful professional connection.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So those are kind of those core elements. Brad, you can't just have me do an elevator pitch of what I do without you doing an elevator pitch. So here we go. Okay. I'm in the elevator right now. I'm holding an American flag. I'm wearing a MAGA hat. I'm just kidding.
You have a bald eagle on your shoulder, screaming
I got a bald
freedom
eagle tattoo across my chest, and I'm holding fireworks in both hands, and they're lit and sparking. This is what I got. Actually, I'm wearing shorts, and they're American flag printed shorts, and I've got on like those big leather work boots. This is what I'm doing. I'm just describing this guy I saw on a TikTok once, and he was wearing all that. He had all this stuff. Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Ignore the MAGA hat. I'm just kidding. I don't own a MAGA hat, and I will not be buying a MAGA hat. But I was trying to come up with things that were like
you just wanted to stir the pot a little bit,
I guess so. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. So this is how I'm dressed. Brad gets in, and the first thing he says is like, dude, I love your bald eagle tattoo on your chest. It looks so epic. And your pecs are huge, and your biceps are just bulging. This is the first thing he says to me. And then I reply back to Brad, and I'm like, hey, hoser, so what do you do for a living, Canuck?
I would say, holy smokes, right on, eh? Like you're like from Minnesota, because Minnesota people are like basically Canadians.
Yeah,
that's not what I'd say.
Oh yeah, because I'm all decked out in American gear. Yeah,
they're like, you're American, but you're Canadian too. Something's going. You're Minnesota. Yeah. No way. Okay, yeah. I'd say. Let me see here. I mean, I got it queued up here, so I'm not coming off the top of my head here. I prepared. Yeah. And we can tear this down.
Let's just let me interject. So let's do it like real conversation.
Sure.
Like we're going down the elevator. Okay. Hey, hoser, what do you got?
Oh, man, I wish I had a good comeback for that. I should have prepared. I'd say, hey, I'm Brad. I'm a web designer. I do email automations. I build high converting funnels and email strategies for creators and coaches who are tired of DIYing their business to death. So I do all of it from strategy to implementation in one day. My clients have seen leads increase by 400% overnight, and they often express regret that they haven't hired me sooner, and always rebook. Everything from strategy to implementation. Basically, I like to tell them, give me one day with your ConvertKit account and you'll be the one your competitors want to copy. Do you know anyone who uses ConvertKit?
Ooh. Hey, you're a real keener, for sure. That's a whole lot of kerfuffle that you got going on there, hoser.
I think I need to give you a masterclass in Canada, and you need to give me a masterclass in America, and we can trade places in our impressions.
I have my list of Canadian expressions up. I'm trying to use as many as I can.
I can give them to you in context. So you got to be like, Brad, how do I use?
You don't like my context. You don't like my context.
It's like you're throwing the words there, but you can tell you're a foreigner.
Yeah. Okay. So I love what you started with there. Did you have a call to action at the end? Like, hey, do you know anybody who's trying to market a business? Do you know anybody who owns a business? Yeah. Yeah.
So I recognized hearing it back that I sounded a bit tight and, a bit stuffy. And this is my first pass of writing this out. And as we'll get into, like, you have many different elevator pitches depending on who's listening and what the purpose and the context is. So in this context, like, this is just one of my businesses. I do, and probably this is it. It's like, I have a business where I do fully fledged email marketing strategy and automation in ConvertKit in one day. I get clients who are creators, they're coaches, they're high ticket consultants. They usually sell products and services and do it through email. And they know that it's important, but they're busy doing it all themselves and it's holding them back. I'm really good at it. that's my bread and butter. And I literally can do it with my eyes closed. So that's what I tend to do. All my clients, they come back, repeat customers. They're super happy. And I like I said, I do it all in one day. Do you know any?
Let me interject here, Brad, because you did something so good when you were doing that right there, more off the cuff. You identified your target customer and you articulated their problem so clearly that they're trying to do it all themselves. They're busy. They don't know what they're doing. So they're just doing a bad job doing it themselves, that do-it-yourself thing. I come in and I do it all in one day. I do this intensive strategy. Now, this is the difference thing. This is what makes you different from everybody else. For me, what made me different was I sat in the chair. I was the basement freelancer and I sold my agency. I had all those experiences in my run up to my creative career. So I'm uniquely positioned in comparison to most people to coach people on the full breadth of what might happen in their creative career, because I had all the experiences down to selling and having that acquisition moment. So I think that you did that so much better. And what's interesting about this that I just also want to highlight is that when we know what our elevator pitch is, it's so much easier to make it natural sounding as long as we're not reading it off a script in our brain. So know your 4 parts. Know that it is who's my audience, what problem do they have, how do I solve it, and what makes me different. Know those parts, and then all of a sudden you can just be talking, thinking, we can just be having a conversation, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to interject who my audience is on my response to this one. And then when he says something else like, hey, hoser, I'm going to say back to him my next point of what problem does my target audience have. So you can make it conversational. You have 4 different parts that you can use with interjections from the person you're talking to have it be a conversation and not you reading a script. And sometimes you may put in your differentiator first. You could put it in second. You could say, oh yeah, no, I work with freelancers and creative agency owners doing mentoring for them. And what makes me different is that I had all the experiences, blah, blah, blah. And then I could go into the problems. Yeah, they struggle with pricing and they struggle finding clients and blah, blah, blah. So I reversed the formula and it still works as an elevator pitch. So I think go into it knowing what your bullets are and change them around as you need to make it a natural sounding conversation.
Yeah, 100%. The more natural it can sound, and that's why practicing it matters. Like rehearsing, and this is coming from like an acting and performance and theater background. Rehearsing is actually a good thing, and I know you razzed me a bit before we recorded.
I'm going to razz you regardless. I'll razz you.
I think these episodes are only going to get better. We're going to have a shtick.
Razzier.
Yeah. And one of the things, the thing you razzed me about was you're like, hey, do you want to kick this episode off? And I was like, sure. And then I was like, hey, well, 2 episodes off. And Brad Hussey is my friend, Mike Janda.
Yeah.
Okay, the Wix Studio and this. And then you're like, what do you do? Are you rehorsing for the intro? Like, we're recording this. We could fix it. And I was like, oh, of course I'm rehearsing it. Like, what am I going to just show up like a schmuck and do it like 4 times? No, I'm going to nail it. And so my rehearsing it is you can borrow from that performance and theater background. And if you rehearse variations of your script, the script becomes second nature and it actually becomes embedded. And so this is what's cool about acting is when you watch a show, like a theater performance, especially theater, you rehearse the lines so much. And if you're watching opening night versus closing night, you'll notice that the lines aren't the same. The intention's there, but the actors have embodied the lines so well that they don't have to actually say exactly the words in the script unless it's really important that they do. Because the line, they become that character, they know those lines and they can kind of move them around and they can even converse and kind of go off script and come right back on it because they know it. And so if you have your pieces that Mike said here, if you break it down into the parts, you know, the who, the what, the why, you know, like that with the differentiating factor, and you have those pieces, those lines, and you rehearse a few variations of it, say it enough, practice it enough, have it be thrown at you with different questions. So maybe someone says, hey, what do you do? Okay, I do this. Or maybe you're at a conference and it's a creator conference with your target market there, and it's a fellow creator who's your target audience, and you want to get them as a client or people like them. And they go, so what brings you to the conference? And then you're like, that's a different trigger for my elevator pitch. How do I do this? Or if someone says, do you use ConvertKit? And I go, that's another trigger for my, so you think about what are the different entry points to my elevator pitch? And instead of going, my name is Brad Hussey and I'm an expert email marketing automation, you're like, no. Like, ConvertKit. I love ConvertKit. Like, it's like, I use it for all my automations. I have a business called Done in One Day, and this is what I do. I help creators double leads and skyrocket course sales, and I do it in one day. Use ConvertKit? And they're like, shoot, actually, yes. And can I talk to you?
Yeah. So good. That's exactly how it plays. Okay. Let's transition into some of the formula behind this. I know I gave you the 4 bullet point formula. Let me ask you some questions, Brad, about your business offering. So, Done in One Day ConvertKit. Why should someone buy that at all? Like, what is it that would make them want to buy this Done in One Day service from you? What are some of the things that would make me? I use ConvertKit, and I haven't hired you yet, but it's coming.
I'm going to get you. I'm going to book you.
Oh, dude, I'm already sold. Sure. I'm already sold. I'm like, go fix this. Fix this thing. It's a freaking train wreck. It's a train wreck. I'm working on overhauling my site first right now, and then I'm coming.
Yeah.
But anyway,
book me for that too.
What is the? Yeah. No, I can do that part. I know.
But
the email marketing is my struggle part. But why should they buy it at all? Why should they buy a Done in One Day, have you overhaul their marketing? Not specifically you, but why should they have someone fix this for them?
I tell my clients in a cheeky way, or my potential clients in a cheeky way, when that question in some way comes up, I'll start it off by saying, speed, the legal kind. That's why. And then it's like, and often they get it. Why would I hire you? And they don't ask that, because whenever they get on the call with me, they actually are ready to hire me. But when they're discerning if this is the right choice or not, why? The big reason why is speed. Because you can do it yourself. ConvertKit, or any tool for that matter, has an excellent community and resources and YouTube videos and creators who create content showing you how to do everything. And that is precisely the problem. So that's where my clients get hung up. If you want to DIY your email marketing, please go ahead. Go do it. Don't book a time with me. Don't waste my time. Like, I'm not a good fit for you right now. But if you are tired of subscribing to competitors' email lists, funnel hacking, trying to reverse engineer funnels, you saw that crazy global automated thing with the flag tags and the custom fields and the automation and the triggers with the delays. And if you're trying to reverse engineer all that, and you're trying to copy and paste somebody else's funnels that you saw, and you've got email newsletters coming out the wazoo because you're trying to figure out how they do it, and you're joining, groups and masterminds and buying courses, and you're tinkering and you're doing all this stuff, you're literally a bottleneck. You're getting in your own way. And if you have a course business or a coaching business or a service business that has legs and actually makes money, and you are in your ConvertKit account tinkering around trying to do that, you are wasting so much time and money. It's not even funny. And you'd be doing a disservice by not getting me or somebody else like me. And I know another guy who does a service like this. And if I'm full, I'll send it straight to him because he's good too. Then you are making a huge mistake. So why book me? Speed. I'll get it done for you today.
And what do I get out of it? What's my output? Am I going to get what do I get? Like, you'll get it done in a day. That's great. But what comes to me? Like, why should I hire somebody to do this?
I love it. Yeah. I can guarantee if I go into your ConvertKit account, and I don't say this to my clients unless it's the right tone.
You're saying it on the podcast in public to everyone right now. You're like, I guarantee.
I do hereby declare. I do declare.
Okay, well, let's hear your guarantee that you don't want to say in public that you're going to say in public right now. What's your guarantee?
What you have going on behind the scenes. Yeah. Well, what I do guarantee is what you have going on behind the scenes is an absolute atrocity of a mess.
Oh,
It's a mess.
so is. You don't have to convince me of that on my side.
You've got you got tags up the wazoo. You've got automations that are flinging people over here. You got people getting duplicate emails over here. You've got a whole bunch of traffic, and you're capturing half of what you could be capturing. You're not striking at the right time. You're not striking while the iron's hot. You're not nurturing them at the right time. You're sending the wrong message at the wrong time when you should be not even logging into your ConvertKit account. And what should be happening is we should be capturing 10, 20, 30% or more of your traffic through expertly crafted lead magnets or entry points. Those should be funneled to the right next message at the right next time, at the right cadence. And the next offer should be calculated based on who they are, the segment, where they come from, all these places. And their next offer gets automatically calculated behind the scenes, and they get dropped into a pitch of one of your 1, 2, 3 offers, which you should have from your low, mid, and high ticket. And then they get to that pitch, and all of this happens all the way to your content. And you should have content that is evergreen, that lasts for at least a year without you needing to log into your ConvertKit account. And by the end of it, and throughout that evergreen newsletter sequence, they're going to be dropped back into a relevant pitch at the right time based on certain metrics, all automatically. And you don't even need to log into your ConvertKit account. That's what should be happening. It should be clean. It should be like running white hot, smooth as Tennessee whiskey in the background. That's what you get. And what that means for you is more leads, more course sales, better engagement, higher open rates, leads and sales. If I'm going down to it, leads and sales.
Yeah. Okay. So in your response, you did kind of go into both of the things, these two big questions that we have to answer in the mind of anybody who we're trying to sell to. Question number one is, why should they buy the thing at all? And the thing that Brad's selling, the reason they should buy it is because it will increase their leads and increase their sales. That's why they should buy it. Now, why should they buy it from Brad? That's question number two. Why should they buy it from you? And the reason that you should buy it from Brad is because clearly he's an expert. We could see that in the things he was talking about. Clearly he is passionate, even nerdy about it. Hey man, I got the balloons again.
You got the balloons. It's the peace sign.
I got the balloons. I got to figure out how to get the freaking balloons to come up more often.
Peace sign.
We got peace. Okay. So watch the video version of this at the timestamp 32 minutes to see the balloons show up. It's so great. Okay. Why should they buy it from Brad? And you see that expertise, you see the ability, the technical skill that he has, the knowledge of the industry, the speed and turnaround time done in one day. He's going to do it at a fair price. It's not going to be cheap, but it's not going to gouge you either. It's a fair price for cleaning all that up. He's going to get you better results than his competitors. The convenience factor, I think, is there. It's more convenient for me to just hire Brad and have him crank for a day and do everything he can than it is for me to go back and forth on phases and rounds and stuff. I love this for something like this, a design in a day kind of thing. I actually like it for a lot of different types of engagements. Like logo designers that are listening to this, you should start thinking about an intensive where you freaking crank a brand in a day and you charge your client $2 or $3 grand and you sit down and you try and design the logo, get approval by lunch, create the whole brand kit and style guide and everything you can get done, crank it in the afternoon and then hand it over to them. And then boom, it's done.
Brilliant.
None of the thing. I mean, I think that can work for a lot of different types of things, and Brad's doing it here. So why should we buy it from Brad? Man, he's checking a lot of the boxes of the things that we would want to choose the person for. We talked about this in the benefits versus features thing. Yeah. And it kind of applies. Like, why do you buy this thing at all? For the benefit, leads and sales, those are the benefits. That's why I'm going to buy this ConvertKit thing. But why am I going to buy it from Brad? The features, it's expertise, it's passion, it's convenience and timeline speed. It's the better results than competitors. These are all these little things that Brad's going to provide for us that are the features of his engagement. And that's why I'm going to choose Brad over somebody else.
Yeah.
So the two big questions, why should they buy it at all? And why should they buy it from you? If you can answer both of those questions in the mind of your potential customer, you're going to sell them. If you can answer those two questions, they are going to buy from you. Yep. If you can't answer those questions, you got to go back to the drawing board on your elevator pitch and your whole business positioning in general and determine if you're marketing right.
100%.
All right. Let's talk about the elevator pitch formula. And we've touched on this already at the beginning. So let's just clarify it. Maybe we do something a little more generic. If we go down and say, we could add a couple things about who do you serve? Yep. What problem do they have? How do you solve that problem? What makes you different? There are two things that we didn't really talk about in that sphere of stuff, and that is highlighting this. We need a call to action of some kind. What happens next? And just introducing yourself, saying your name, smiling, nodding at them, making eye contact, all of that kind of stuff is part of this elevator pitch. It's be likable at that start of the thing. So are there other pieces to this formula that people need to know, Brad, that we're missing here?
I think the call to action really matters. Like if you have a bad elevator pitch and you piece the formula together in a natural way, if you don't have a call to action, you're kind of hoping that they ask you or do the next step that you want them to take. And the reality is it's probably not going to happen. They might go, wow, that's cool, or neat, or that, oh, good for you, or awesome, sweet, man, that's great.
Yeah.
But maybe then because they don't want to be too forward and say, can I hire you? Can I, I need to talk to you. Not everybody is like that. So if you give them the opportunity to answer a question, that's not too on the spot. Like if you say, do you want to hire me for a day? They'll be like, maybe I don't like this person. But if you say something like, do you use ConvertKit? Or what's your newsletter? Do you have a newsletter too? Can I subscribe to it? Can I subscribe to your newsletter? And then they'd be like, ooh, Brad's going to funnel hack me. And then now I've got your email. I'm in your newsletter. I'm going to reply and go, dude, this lead magnet was just lit, as they say.
It was a real keener.
It was a real keener, but I got to tell you that follow-up was a real hoser. And I got to...
Yeah, it was.
I got to fix that for you. Can I give you... Do you want to jump on a call about this? I loved meeting you at the conference, and this lead magnet was great. I just feel like there's 3 things that you could be doing here. Check out my video to do it. This is what I do though. Watch this video. Check it out. Let me know if you have any questions. They watch this video and they go, Brad, I can't do that. Can you do it for me, please? And that's how it works. But you need to give them that call to action. So do the thing, do the pitch in a nice, organic, natural way that's not too stuffy or awkward. And then ask them a follow-up. Do you use Wix Studio? Or do you know any designers? Do you know of anybody who has a newsletter as well? Do you know any freelancers? Like something that gets them, puts it on them, but it's not too much pressure for them to say yes or no to a sale, right?
Yeah. I think it's good to ask, do you know somebody? I like that one because it's no pressure. It's like, oh yeah, my brother is a freelancer. And then you can reply back and say, oh, have him check out my community, or you should have him check out my YouTube channel because I'm giving a lot of value to freelancers there. It's at More Janda on YouTube. So boom, there's a call to action, and it isn't the person you're talking about saying, hey there, you want to buy something from me? Feeling like the used car salesman. There's none of that because it's not related to them. And if they have that problem, they may say something like, when you say, do you know anybody who does email marketing for their business and it's not working that well? They may say, yeah, me.
Take my card.
That might be how they respond if they feel the pain when you're talking about your elevator pitch. You can inflict that pain by articulating the problem. And then when they realize they have that problem, then you come in and say, do you know anybody? They could easily just brush it off and give you another name, or they can say, yeah, I have that problem. Give me your card. Give me your contact info.
100%.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we have on elevator pitches that you'd want to clarify for people as we kind of wrap up this episode, Brad?
Well, what we have up on the screen here is a great, you just shared that slide there, which was share and practice. And I would say that that's the best way, is get out of your own head. You could speak it out loud to yourself, but honestly, even just from the top of this recording, when I kind of shared my first pass of the elevator pitch that covered all of the formula topics, it sounded really awkward, really stuffy, really unnatural. And probably nobody would want to take my card or book me for a day after hearing that.
Too sterile.
Too sterile. It sounds desperate. It sounds awkward. I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Yeah.
But then 3 or 4 times in there, when I wasn't even telling you the elevator pitch, and I just kind of was like, look, this is how it works. That sells it. And I can tell you that not from theory, but from practice. I get people on these calls, they go to my site for that, and then they book a call reading, they've watched a video or read the website or, and they resonated. And I could just be there, and I'm not like, hey, here's my pitch and here's this. And I don't even do the sales conversation formula. It's literally like, tell me about your email. Tell me about how stressful it is. What's going on? Is it as bad as I think it is? And they're laughing and they're like, I think, Brad, it's worse than you think it is. And I'm like, look, okay, can I help you? And they're like, please, can we just stop beating around the bush here and just tell me when you're available? It's so natural. So practice it with people when you could bounce it off and go, listen, I'm going to tell you my elevator pitch. And you're like, hi, my name is Brad Hussey, and I'm an expert email automation ConvertKit expert. And today, or it's like, nah, do it like you got somebody to listen to and have them ask you different trigger, prompts. That's the word, prompts. Have them be like, what do you do? Have them say, do you use email? Do you have an online business? Do you blog, or are you a YouTuber? Give me different prompts and then see if I can get you back online into the elevator pitch and end it off with a relevant follow-up based on that little 30-second interaction you had. Do you have a YouTube channel as well? Nice. Do you have a way to capture those subscribers' emails? No. Shoot. Here, watch this video.
Yes.
And you have that video. That'll solve it for you. Do that.
Yeah.
And then it's part of your next step and they're in your funnel.
Yeah. So good. Exactly right. Okay. Thank you for your great contribution on this and tolerating my Canadian jokes, Brad. I appreciate that.
We'll work on it.
Made jokes to America too.
We were fair.
I'm an equal opportunity joker. That's what I am.
Equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Friendly insults.
Yes, friendly. Good. We appreciate everybody listening. Thank you so much. If you're getting value from 2 Pixels Off, please drop a review on usually Apple Podcasts, I think, has the best review system of the different podcast platforms. I think a couple of the other smaller ones have the ability to write a review, but if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please drop a review for us. We appreciate that so much. It's a little nugget of validation that you're liking the show. Somebody has been chiming into my YouTube videos and they make the comment, still listening. And I'm so glad. It is all they say. And they've done it on a few of them. And I'm like, thank you so much for telling me you're still freaking listening, because we put a lot of effort into the show and we're trying to make a lot of value for you for free. And we appreciate the reviews and the comments and the shares and all the things you can do to help support the channel. So thank you so much. And final little shout out to Wix Studio for making this podcast possible and connecting Brad and I together a year and a half or so ago, a couple years ago, and grateful for them and the great platform they have that helps designers and just creative entrepreneurs create great websites for their clients and easily manage those sites. So thank you to Wix Studio, and we will see all you hosers later.
Take off, hoser.
Hey.